Okay, and I'm going to say it again. Stop trying to use your mind to figure out a future that does not exist. Right? Your mind can only create from what's known, right? Your past experiences, your beliefs, your fears. If you keep trying to think your way into a new reality, you're only going to recreate different versions of the same life. Now, that's not something that I would choose to do, and I'm not sure about yourself. But what if I was to tell you, listen, there is a different way, a better way that you can create that life that you desire? Now, this way goes beyond your mind, right? It taps into what you truly desire in your heart, and then it aligns with the most powerful creative energy in the universe, right? And those that don't know, my name's LJ, and I know this to be true because, as I've spoke about, for the longest time, I was trapped in my mind, right? Dealt with so many different obstacles, addiction, anxiety, self-sabotage, you name it, I went through it, right? And I believed that my mind was the greatest asset, and my mind was what I had to, fine tune. Okay. And after being on this journey for 46 years, but this personal development journey for the past 6, 7 years, I'm learning more and more that my mind was actually a limitation, right? And that's what today's video is about. I'm going to show you why your mind isn't meant to create your future and what you can do instead, right? Because, think about it. Why would your mind keep you stuck? Because, in all intents and purposes, we think the mind is great. Right, but let me be clear, right? The mind is an incredible tool. I'm not taking anything away from the mind. It's amazing. It helps you analyze, plan, make logical decisions. But your mind has one major flaw when it comes to creating specifically. Okay, your mind is programmed to keep you safe, right? And your past experiences, you're alive right now, so your mind sees them as safe. Okay, and your mind remembers everything, right? If and you might not remember it consciously, but your mind remembers everything, right? Everything you've experienced, every rejection, every failure, every disappointment, right? And when you try to visualize a better future, your mind automatically references the past. It asks, well, have we done this before? Right? Is this safe? Right? So if it finds no evidence of a past success, it labels this as unsafe or impossible. Okay, and this is why people, they try affirmations, right? And they don't get any results, right? Or they just try visualization and they don't get any lasting change, right? Your mind secretly doubts them because it has no past reference point, right? And when I was trying to get sober, right, and break free from my addictions and my depressions, right, my mind kept replaying the good times. Okay. And this was because I was trying to get sober, but drinking was safe for me because I was alive. So it kept replaying the good old times to get me to go back into that same pattern. And then when I eventually stopped, right, it would rerun all the memories of my failures, my relapses, and my pain. Because then I kept thinking, I'll never succeeded before, so why is this going to be any different? Right? My mind was trying to get me back into that past version of myself because that seen that as safe, even though it was so destructive, even though it was destroying me, it was killing me, it was ruining every area of my life. But to my mind, that was safe, that was familiar. Okay, and that's how powerful the mind can be. But what I know now, you know, and and it's the same for you, right? Your future isn't limited by what you've experienced. Okay, it's actually created from something much deeper. Your frequency, your energy, your heart. Okay, and it's about going beyond your mind. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They don't understand that you were never meant to create a future with your mind alone, right? You were designed to create from your heart, your intuition, your superconscious, the higher self, the God within, whatever you want to call it. Because your mind is linear, right? It creates from past reference, past data, past experiences. The heart, however, that's quantum, right? It connects you directly with the, infinite possibilities, universal intelligence, and the energy of creation itself. So to manifest a life that you've never lived, you must go beyond thinking and move into the feeling. Okay? Frequency first, form second. Now, this isn't just some spiritual woo-woo bullshit I'm talking here, but there is actual science to back it up, right? If you look at research in quantum physics, that shows that everything is energy, right? Frequency and vibration. What is it Tesla says? The keys to the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay, and he knew that way back then, and and people still reference him now, but I believe that he knew a lot more than what was led on. Okay, and then also heart coherence studies, right? They have done studies that the heart's electromagnetic field is 1,000 times stronger than your brain, right? So your heart literally creates your reality more powerfully than your brain. Now, that's mind blowing, right? If you ask me. And this was, about, I don't know how many, 5, 6 years ago, my growth started to truly take an upward, trajectory when I learned to stop overthinking and start feeling the frequency of the life I wanted. And it was, I never just one day woke up and decided I'm going to do this. No, I was guided to do this by Chris Duncan, my mentor at the time, and then William Whitecloud, right? And at the beginning, I didn't understand what it was all about, but it's about feeling. And then when I began to tap into the energy of my heart, feeling things like gratitude, love, and possibility, then things started to change in my life. I started to manifest, first of all, genuine, true healing, right? I started to manifest the things that I wanted to create, fulfillment, love, abundance, purpose. Okay, and it wasn't logic. This was all me coming into alignment. Now, if I was to think these things, that would never have happened. I had to let go and feel them. Okay, because when you create from your heart, right, your mind and ego, they don't disappear. Okay, they shift roles. Right? So your heart, which is, I believe connected to your superconscious, that receives inspiration, ideas, intuitive guidance from universal intelligence. The mind, your conscious mind, then logically organizes, right, plans and takes practical actions based on the heart's guidance. Now, the ego will then support these actions by believing, reinforcing, and building your new identity aligned with your heart's vision. And this is why it's not about separating the mind and the ego or dissolving the ego, as you'll hear a lot of people talk about. It's about integrating everything. Because your ego and your mind were designed to serve your heart's truth, not to dominate it. And for most of us, that's what's happening. We're living in our limiting beliefs, outdated information that was useful to us in the past, but it's no longer useful to us now. Okay, and it's the true importance of connecting to your heart is unbelievable, right? Because I can only talk from my experience. When I started to really connect with my heart, at the beginning, I resisted it, right? I resisted it because, you know what, there was a lot of things, it was uncertain, but I didn't feel worthy. I was still allowing these beliefs to hold me back. But the more that I practiced, and I wouldn't so much say trust, because trust, is a funny one. But the more I practiced and the more I let go, the clearer the guidance became. And eventually my mind just started to accept that, you know what, I'm not fully in control right now. I'm cool with just supporting here. Because then things started to run a lot smoother. I started to live in alignment. That's basically what it was, right? And of course that it's all not plain sailing. There's many hurdles that I've had to overcome, but I can honestly say right now that every day is I feel blessed because I don't have the mental torment that I used to have, the negative thoughts, the constant overthinking, the worry, the stress, the anxiety, right? And I know there's so many people out there that are still trapped in that. Okay, and it's the key to that is to tapping into what the heart is, because the big reason that a lot of people struggle with their manifestations is they project the future from the past, right? And as I've said, that's not a good reference point for your future, your past. So your mind tries to predict what's possible based on what's happened before, right? But that's crazy. Okay? But because when you're doing that, you're limiting yourself to your past results. And if you want to create something new that you've never created before, why go back to the past? But that's what the mind does. Okay, whereas the heart, it does not project, it receives. It's open to infinite possibilities beyond anything the mind has ever experienced. And this is why building that connection is so important. You can ask yourself things like, you know, how does this future feel? What energy do I need to embody to attract this future? Okay? Who would I have to be for this future to be true? And it's about not, you know, and it's not asking questions like, how can I achieve this? Right? It's about what's happening, the feeling, the embodying, the alignment. Okay? And you're not going to get overnight results straight away. No, it's going to take time. And you're going to have to build that patience so that you can become present and shift into that heart-based creation, right? And let go of these past limitations. Okay, and how would I suggest you do this, right? The first thing I would say is you need to live in the now. Okay, you need to be present. That is I think it's the key to anything. We're far too often looking at the future, worrying or regrets about the past. It's about being present. Your mind will always try to go into the past or the future, right? But right now, all we have is the now, and your heart lives here in the now. And the easiest way to become present is to just sit and breathe. That is the easiest way. Meditation, breath work, but just sit and breathe and be conscious, be present. And then you can tune into the heart, put your hands on your heart, feel your heartbeat, imagine breathing, directly into this area. Okay, your heart is your intuitive center. And when you do that and you put the attention and you breathe into it, then you'll activate heart coherence. And that's what I said before. It's proven by science to balance your emotions and reduce stress. Okay, just feel the frequency, right? Just imagine what it is that you want in the future, your desired reality. Imagine you have it already. Okay, imagine it exists and you're living it, right? Don't visualize you can visualize the details if you want, but feel the energy. What does it feel like to be living in that? How does it feel emotionally? Is it joy, peaceful, abundant? Because your heart communicates in feelings, not in images, right? And when you're in that place, just be open for the guidance. Your heart's not going to shout, it's going to whisper. Okay, and that's where when you're breathing, you're being present, you're quieting the mind so that you can hear these subtle intuitive nudges. And even if you take a pen and just start writing, and intuitively write, and then it's about acting on these nudges, because you might have a bit of inspiration and then you'll have this negative thought that, stops you from doing it. But it's not. It's about taking that action right there and then, as soon as you get it. Don't wait until tomorrow or next day or when you feel ready. Just do it right now. Right? And this is what I do every morning. Every morning I sit, I'll meditate every single morning. Okay. And I do various different meditations. A lot of the time I'll just sit in quiet reflection, peace and meditate, connecting deeply and feel the gratitude. And I'm always looking for the next obvious action. So when my meditation, that's normally what I do. And I'll do that before I go and sit in the sunlight. And then through the day, I'll constantly ask, am I acting in my highest alignment? Am I acting from fear or love? Like, for example, today, there was a moment I was acting from fear because I was allowing the fears and doubts to come in about making YouTube videos, even though I've got thousands of ideas, not thousands, but I've got a lot of ideas. But the thoughts were thinking, oh no, that's not good enough. You've not really got any good ideas. And it was just trying to hold me back. And I'm like, where am I coming from right now? Am I coming from fear or love? I'm coming from fear. So it's time to speak about love. And this is why this whole video is, because it's about me explaining what I'm going through right now. Okay, and then I'll do gratitude journaling, and I normally do that at night time. I'll write down, what I'm grateful for that day. Okay, and when you do the gratitude journaling, this again, it connects and reinforces a heart-based energy, right? And that will improve your overall well-being, also your brain partnering and everything. Okay, and it's good to have that evening reflection, right? Review your choices. Did you slip back into the ego or the mind's fears, or were you living from your heart? And as I said, it's not perfection. right? This is something that I still wrestle with on a daily basis. So I'm not sitting here telling you all this and I'm sitting like, oh, almighty and the guru and under a tree and I've got everything figured out. No, it's quite the opposite. I'm on this journey still trying to figure shit out and I struggle on a daily basis. But you know what? I know that my life now is a far cry from what it used to be. And right now I'm blessed, I'm grateful, and I'm so aligned with my purpose right now. But see, if I don't continue to do these practices on a daily basis, I know I could easily be back where I was. Okay, and it's about me taking the conscious choices every single day to become the best version of myself. And unless I do that, I know that it's one slip away from me being back on a bender, destroying my life and my family's life. Okay, because your mind is powerful, right? But your heart is much more powerful. In fact, it's limitless. True happiness, real freedom, and authentic creation. This happens when you move beyond those mental limitations in your mind and you tap into that heart-based creation because you have the power, right? And it's not about thinking your way forward. It's about feeling your way forward. Feel your way into the future, right? And trust that your heart knows what's best for you. Your heart will never, ever guide you in the wrong direction. You are far more powerful than you will ever realize. Okay, the future you desire is waiting right there. Go tap into your heart and create from that. Okay, and today my energy is a bit low because, as I said, I've been having a bad day today, and it's one of those, trying to get myself motivated and do stuff. We have them, but as long as I know that I show up here, I've committed to this. I know when I'm finished this video and I've done the upload and I've created everything, I'll feel so proud of myself. And that's what it is. Every day I'm proving to myself I'm not competing against anyone else. I'm just competing against me of yesterday. So if this video if this video resonates with you, drop a wee comment below. Let me know what's going on with you, right? How are you feeling today? What's one desire your heart wants you to trust today? Okay, how can I help you today? How can I serve you today? What video can I make for you today? Hit the subscribe button. Join me on this journey as we can travel on this road together, creating a life of purpose, of passion, of alignment. We can come together and do it together. Let's remove the separation. Let's remove the divide. I'm LG, and I believe you deserve to have it all. I love you. Take good care, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll have another video here, and you can subscribe here. Thanks for watching.